For many years, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich have created one of the greatest matchups in Champions League history. Those confrontations always have one common point, which is the presence of many top stars standing on both sides of the front line. Now, when both enter a new era with a new generation of superstars, a question is raised. If placing the two strongest lineups on the scale, which team is truly superior in quality? The draw of fate has placed Real Madrid and Bayern Munich in the same bracket in the knockout stage of the Champions League 2025/2026 season. The Spanish royal club excellently defeated Man City with an aggregate score of 5-1, thereby proudly advancing into the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich destroyed Atalanta with an aggregate score of 10-2 to continue the dream of winning a treble. The White Vultures and the Grey Tigers have met 28 times in the most prestigious club competition. Real Madrid defeated Bayern Munich 13 times, but the number one pride of German football also has 11 victories over the king of the Champions League. For fans, the clash between Real and Bayern always carries a nature no different from a Champions League final. And the fact that the two teams meet too early in this season is truly regrettable when one of the two giants will abandon the dream after two legs. According to the latest data from player evaluation site Transfermarkt, Real Madrid's squad has a total value of 1.38 billion euros, ranking first among the most expensive clubs at present. Bayern Munich owns a squad with a total value far behind Real, with only 980 million euros. However, when placing the starting lineups of the two teams on the scale for comparison, the White Vultures do not overwhelm the Grey Tigers. Even Bayern is the more outstanding team. Let's look at the reality happening at Real Madrid. Coach Álvaro Arbeloa is still struggling in the process of finding the optimal lineup for Real Madrid. In the Madrid derby with Atletico on March 23rd, Coach Arbeloa left Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappé, Trent Alexander-Arnold on the bench. Until the most recent defeat against Mallorca last weekend, it was Vinicius Jr.'s turn to sit on the bench when Mbappé returned to the starting lineup. Coach Arbeloa rotates the Real Madrid lineup week by week, and this happens across all three lines: defense, midfield, and attack. How to let Vinicius, Mbappé, Bellingham, Valverde all start? That is the question that many Real Madrid fans have asked Arbeloa, expecting this strategist to find a formula to optimize the strength from stars valued at over 100 million euros. However, Coach Arbeloa quickly realized that he cannot optimize Real Madrid's strength by selecting starting positions based on the value of stars from high to low. What Arbeloa is doing is balancing the lineup between two factors: star class, experienced positions, and young factors, full of enthusiasm. Manuel Angel, Pitarch Pinar are young factors of Real Madrid who have been given opportunities to play by Coach Arbeloa recently. In contrast to Real Madrid, Bayern Munich has played steadily since the beginning of the 2025/2026 season and formed a quality lineup. The Grey Tigers have been flourishing on the form of Joshua Kimmich, Leon Goretzka, Luis Diaz, Michael Olise, Serge Gnabry, and especially Harry Kane. Kane alone has contributed up to 48 goals after 40 matches for Bayern Munich across all competitions. After Kane is Michael Olise, the forward who scored 16 goals after 40 matches. And Luis Diaz has also shined with 22 goals after 39 matches. Bayern Munich is owning the best and most stable attacking trio in Europe since the beginning of the 2025/2026 season. Before the clash with Real Madrid, Kane is still racing against time to recover from injury. If Kane returns and continues to partner with Olise and Diaz, the attacking power of this trio is the weapon that Real Madrid needs to be wary of. And looking at the form of Kane, Olise, and Diaz, that is the reason to assess that the current strength of the Grey Tigers cannot be underestimated, and they have nothing to fear when facing the king of the Champions League. The difference between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich will come from the quality of substitute players. With the current personnel of Real Madrid, Coach Arbeloa can arrange two starting lineups, while Vincent Kompany must calculate very carefully to rotate the squad. Once Harry Kane has not yet returned, Bayern Munich has no one reliable enough for the central striker position. The Grey Tigers are also completely dependent on the duo Goretzka and Kimmich in the central midfield position. If one of Goretzka or Kimmich gets injured, That is a disaster for the team leading the Bundesliga standings.
Opta's supercomputer predicts Bayern Munich has an 18% chance to win the Champions League, while Real Madrid's number is 10%.
This is the assessment from ESPN. Why is Bayern Munich trusted to pass the quarterfinals? The reason is because Bayern owns too strong attacking firepower. The current squad of the Grey Tigers is balanced across all three lines, with Manuel Neuer in high form. The statistics show Bayern is the team that deploys attacks best in Europe, with an average of 72.1 forward passes. CBS Sports also evaluates Bayern Munich to have a higher chance of winning in the quarterfinal tie. Bayern Munich is too stable this season. They and Arsenal are the two brightest candidates for the Champions League title. Under Coach Kompany, Bayern is a collective with a solid defense, and that is something Real Madrid has not achieved. Real has many big stars, but unstable form, constantly rotating positions.
Most assessments from experts emphasize the factor Real Madrid holds a star-studded squad, but unstable. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich does not need too many stars, but is a cohesive collective and has outstanding individuals like Kane, Olise. For a very long time, Bayern Munich is again placed in the upper hand in a match with Real Madrid in the Champions League, and if evaluated in all aspects, this is not unreasonable. The Grey Tigers have scored up to 100 goals and conceded only 27 times in the Bundesliga this season. In the Champions League, Bayern Munich has scored 32 goals and conceded 8 goals. The stability in the defensive system is the biggest difference between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich at present. Look at the way Coach Arbeloa's team collapsed 1-2 against Mallorca in the most recent match. It will show how fragile the White Vultures are. Coach Arbeloa has tried every option for the defense. Center-back Dean Huijsen is still in disappointing form when pairing with Antonio Rudiger. Eder Militao was brought onto the field to replace Huijsen, but the performance has not created absolute assurance. Most importantly, when Thibaut Courtois is injured and misses both Champions League quarterfinal matches, Real Madrid's defense has lost its most reliable stopper. There are too many factors leading to disadvantage for Real Madrid in this confrontation with Bayern Munich. However, ESPN reminds that it will be a mistake to underestimate Real Madrid in the Champions League. Bayern Munich has a higher chance to win, but that does not mean underestimating Real Madrid. Under Coach Arbeloa, Real Madrid is not stable, but moments of brilliance in important matches still remain. They defeated Man City in that way, a match where the mark of stars spoke at the right time. Statistical numbers and form situation are only for reference. The clash between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich is expected to be balanced and dramatic when Real Madrid returns to the place they have dominated throughout history. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich, with high form and rising spirit, is also ready to challenge the king of the Champions League this season. A true early final between two clubs possessing the strongest attacks in Europe at present. Among them, the performances of Kane and Mbappe at the two ends of the front line are awaited more than anything. With Kane and Mbappe, the winner of this clash will go deep in the Champions League, and this is an important condition for the two forwards to continue to break through on the journey to conquer the Ballon d'Or title for the first time in their careers. A match tense enough to test the bravery and ability of Michael Olise, one of the fastest improving players in the past 2 years. This is also a test for the bravery of Arda Güler and many young attacking players on the Real Madrid side when preparing to face the toughest defense in Europe since the beginning of the 2025/2026 season. On the contrary, Bayern Munich's defense will face the most difficult challenge since the beginning of this season. The steel stoppers of Bayern Munich, such as Jonathan Tah, Kim Min-jae, and Dayot Upamecano, have made all forwards in the Bundesliga discouraged. When facing attacking superstars like Mbappe and Vinicius, this is the best way to see how solid the shield that coach Vincent Kompany built for the Grey Tigers is. Real Madrid carries the DNA of legendary Champions League nights, while Bayern Munich enters the match like a perfect machine reaching peak form. Let's wait and see when bravery confronts discipline, when moments collide with stability. Who will be the one to decide the game?